So, Joe, you've been in recovery for how long?
13 months.
How's it going?
Oh, it's great. My life has changed drastically. Uh, I was in prison a long time. So when I got out, I didn't know how to live out here because everything changed. I was in there for 40 years and 9 months. And I started drinking and smoking weed and doing drugs, and my life became unmanageable because I was actually clean for 4 years in prison. And when I got out, the first night I started drinking and smoking weed, and it just escalated. And I realized that wasn't the plan God had for me, because I was never supposed to get out.
So when you were doing the drugs, a lot had changed about it since you had been in prison. So did that scare you at all?
Yeah, because people were dying around me, and but that's when I decided I needed to come to One Promise. I came here and I went through the counseling and all. This place has 7 counselors, and each one of them have a different method of how they do things. And the intense therapy I got, along with the counseling, really turned my life around. And I went to NA meetings regularly, which I still do. And when I graduated here, I went to Humble Beginnings, which is a 3.1 program, which really taught me how to live and showed me how to do my finances, operate bank accounts and everything. And my life has changed drastically. In fact, I graduated Humble Beginnings on Monday.
Oh, congratulations.
And I also, Humble Beginnings, the owner, Josh Moy, his friend Matt Brown has a sober living houses and made me a manager of a sober living house. And I started that yesterday. I don't have any clients yet, but today I'll get one.
Fantastic.
And it's the responsibility and also being an example of how sober living should be. And I love it. My life has come together. I got a good job. I had a bad accident this year on a motorcycle. I survived, and I didn't use. My father died this year. I didn't use. I've been through some things, and I'm not using. That's the most important thing. And I'm coming together. I need to be an example for the people that are watching me, because people are like, I've always been called a loser my whole life. So I'm not a loser. I'm making it happen. I'm going to be the example for people to follow. And that's what I'm looking forward to that.
Were you, when you were in like kind of the depths of this, the worst, right? Going through the worst, did you ever imagine that you would be sitting here telling the world about how great you're doing?
No, I never thought this. I always thought that I never thought that much of myself to be the person I'm becoming. And I'm very religious now, and everything's coming from God. God has blessed me, and I have good friends. I have a heck of a network of people. When I got this job as house manager yesterday, I started, I have like 30 people that all like, if you have any problems at all, call me and I'll guide you through it and help you. I have so much support, and that's very important when you're in recovery. When you're coming off of heroin and other drugs, and fentanyl is pretty bad. And when you're coming off of that and you're turning your life around, people are there to support you, and these are other people that are in recovery. It's each one helping each other get through this. It's very important to have these people. I have so many good people behind me. When I did my 1-year celebration in Hamden on September 5th down on Union Avenue, half my house showed up, and the employees showed up. except for Wayne Beecraft. He had gallbladder issues, was in the hospital.
Yeah.
But everybody showed up, and it was like so much love and support. That's how you get through this. Because when you're in the depths of your addiction, you cause so much damage. You steal from people, you lie, you cheat, you do everything you can to get that next fix so you're not ill. And you cause so much damage. Some of it's repairable, some of it isn't. And in my case, I was 15 years old when I first put a needle in my arm on Christmas Day, 1978. And I did it over in Remington. And it just went on from there. By the time I was 18, I was in prison with life in 50. And it was really bad. I got my sentence reduced down to life in 20. But I was never supposed to get out. And I was shooting heroin every day in prison. Drugs are just as plentiful in there as they are out here. It doesn't end. And I got myself clean, and then when I got out, I just lost sight of that. And I came to One Promise, and One Promise got me back on track. You know, I know Bruce, and Bruce White, he's a fantastic person. When I realized I needed help, I called a friend of mine who was also a lifer. He works at the public defender's office now, Hanif. I called him, and he said, look, can you make it to Baltimore? Because I was living up in Pennsylvania with my cousins. He said, can you make it to Baltimore by 12:30 tomorrow morning? I said, yeah. He said, we'll make it happen. You're going to One Promise. When you leave there, you're going to Humble Beginnings. He had it all set up for me. And that was the beginning of my network of people that support me and care. And I needed that. And without the care and the support, who knows where I'd be at.
At one point, did you think to yourself, I'm going to die and I don't care? Like, did you ever think that?
Yeah, many times. There's been many times I just didn't care because, like even in prison, the crazy thing is this, and this is how the disease of addiction works for me. Guys would get dope on their visits or wherever they got it, and they break it down and sell it, and several people would OD and die. That's the dope I wanted. I would run to him, let me get some of that, because that's the good stuff. And that's how my disease of addiction worked. If somebody died on it, that's what I want, because I know it's going to get me high. I just have to do a little bit at a time. And I did that, and it's crazy. That's how it was. And there's been many times people OD'd and died, and I went and got it. A friend of mine died in 1991. Buddy Ludwig, he OD'd in the penitentiary. And dope he OD'd on, I couldn't wait to get it. It was China White when they had it back then. I went and got me some. And I put way too much in my cooker, and a friend of mine, he's dead now also, he OD'd. He came and told me, he said, don't put that much in there, just a little tiny bit, like a pinhead. And yeah, he saved me that day because that little pin, that little, like a match head drop of it was enough. And yeah, I would have died that day. He saved me. But yeah, I always chase the drugs that somebody put OD on or die.
It's hard for people to understand that. Can you see how that is?
Yeah, it's the disease of addiction. It doesn't care. It's always looking for that next high. And you know, I've met people since I've been in sobriety and NA meetings that's been clean for 30, 40 years, and then they relapse. Because sometimes that that little voice in your head is always telling you, you can just do one.
Yeah, and nowadays you don't even know exactly what you're taking because so many drugs have been
Right,
listed.
xylazine, that's out there, and that's really destroying people, eating your skin, putting holes in your body, and tearing you up. There was a young lady in here that was doing that, and her legs were really bad. And since I've been in One Promise, I've seen 11 people walk out of here and die. 11 of them. Most of them were women.
Really?
Yeah. They walked right out. Brenda, she was 60-some years old, and she walked out, smoked some crack, and died. And she was clean for, I want to say 6, 7 months, maybe a little longer. Older lady. Yeah, that surprised me because I thought she was doing good. And the most important thing about sobriety that I've learned is not just a network of people, but getting yourself a home group, getting a sponsor, following the 12 steps, working the 12 steps with your sponsor. I'm still on my first step, and my sponsor's helping me every day. I talk to him. He's a great person. I love the guy. He helps me tremendously. I just bought myself a TV for the first time since I've been out. And I don't even know how to program. He's going to come over and show me how to program it to the Wi-Fi in the house. So I got it sitting on my dresser in my bedroom. So there's a lot of stuff I don't know, but I get help from people because now I'm not afraid to ask for help.
That's a big step.
Yeah. At one point, I always just thought I could do it on my own. That's why that's why drugs took over my life, because I thought I could do it on my own, and you can't. That's why we need each other to help each other get through this.
Why are you agreeing to speak out? Why did you want to do this interview?
Well, one, because I want people to see if I can do it, I know you can do it. Drugs is destroying this country. It's destroying lives. Each night when I ride to work, I work at the Giant up there in Parkville, and when I go up there, I see people walking the streets, they're homeless, and they're chasing drugs. They're chasing crack, they're chasing fentanyl, and whatever they can get their hands on. And they're living a miserable existence. And it doesn't have to be that way. The disease of addiction will take you down a hole that you just don't think you can dig yourself out of, but you can. You can always get out of it. All you have to do is have enough common sense to seek help. And if you seek it and really want it, it's here for you. This whole area is full of rehab facilities. And the people around here care, they want to help you. All the people in this place were on drugs at one time or another. The ones that run it and own it. They've been there, they know how this disease of addiction works. And they know how to help. You can't.
Does that make a difference to you that they have been there?
Yeah. Because we can relate. If you can relate to somebody, it's like, you don't go to a horse dealer to buy a dog. Go to a dog breeder, get your dog. You want a horse, go to a horse dealer. And, you want to get off drugs, go to an ex-drug addict. Because he can show you what worked for him and bring you around and help you. And that's how it works. And it works for me. And I got a great support system. Everybody, all my friends are ex-drug addicts. And it's a struggle every day. But life happens. It just depends how you deal with it. Another friend of mine says, you might have a bad moment, but that's just a moment. Just move forward, because the next moment's probably going to be great. And it happens. And my moments are really good. Even though I've had some bad ones, I look forward for the next, just live one day at a time. That's the best way to do this. Don't look in the past, look to the future. One of the things that Bruce told me over a year ago, he said, don't look in the rear view mirror because you might see something you don't like. Just move forward, and that's what I've been doing. It made a lot of sense, and that's how I like it. And my life is good. I haven't achieved the things I want to achieve yet. I would like,
What would you like to do?
get a relationship with a good woman that's clean or never did drugs at all, and move forward, maybe get married and have a nice house and have some dogs. I'm a dog trainer, so that's what I like doing. So I've trained service dogs for disabled vets. I work for America's Vet Dogs.
Yeah.
I got them tattooed on my back.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I knew all the dogs you had, Brooks and all
oh
them.
my God, I love. Yeah, that is so cool.
Yeah, I worked for them. I
Yeah.
did it in prison.
That is awesome.
I got the whole American Vet Dogs thing tattooed on my back
Yeah.
with one of my dogs, Max.
Yeah. Oh, great
And-
program. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was there for over 2 years. And I had 4 dogs placed with disabled veterans. I was primary to 2 and secondary to 2. But I also helped other trainers work with their dogs. And, that was one of the best things I ever did in my life because it gave me a chance to give back to our nation's heroes. And I would love to get back into that. That's my goal. I'm a good trainer, and I love that. That's like the best I ever did in my life.
That's awesome. It's a great feeling
It
to
is.
contribute to that. Yeah. For sure.
I've seen them dogs change veterans' lives drastically, because some of the veterans will come into the prison and sit down with us and tell us how the dogs changed their lives. One guy, he got most of the dogs, if they don't pass, they become emotional supports. And this guy had emotional support because his dog didn't pass. And it helped him. He was on like 15 different medications, and then he got down to 3.
Oh, wow.
And the dog did that.
That's incredible.
And these dogs work miracles in your lives.
They do. Yeah.
My dog Max, he went to a veteran that had 1 leg and 1 arm missing and is in a wheelchair, and I train him in a wheelchair. I train him to do everything. He can fully undress you, take your shoes off, your socks, everything. And and he went with that veteran, so he's retired now. He has to be, because the veteran got him in 2017. So yeah, he's retired. I'm sure the veteran kept him. So
I'm
he's
sure.
a great dog.
Yeah.
I gave him tattooed on my back.
Oh, that's so cool. Well, you've made so much of your life. You really have.
Yeah, it's I strive to do the right things, even when I was in prison. See, when you're a lifer in prison and you're not given an opportunity up till now, they just started paroling lifers in this state because they took it out the governor's hands. And that's why most of the prisoners in there are addicted to drugs, because they're lost. They have nothing to look forward to. And when Glendenning said life means life, it was like, okay, this is my life and this is where I'm going to stay, so it doesn't matter what I do. And they stopped your education at GED. You weren't allowed to get a college education. You weren't allowed to get any vocational training, because there's no need to give you anything if you're not moving out. If you're not getting out of prison, there's no sense for you to have anything. So that's why all of us turned to drugs. Well, I was already doing them, but most people turn to drugs. I've seen guys come into prison, never done drugs, become full-blown heroin addicts. And it was like a breeding ground for that in there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you survive that, and then you come out and you're lost, and you survive that. You're a survivor.
I am, and it's all due to God. It's not. I realize now that everything I do is because God wants me to do it. It's not. This isn't just fate. This is what God wants. I know it, and I wasn't meant to be a drug addict. I wasn't meant to be a crud ball. I was locked up for a felony murder I didn't commit, but I was there when it happened.
I see.
And I lied. I told my family and my lawyer and everybody I wasn't there. Didn't have nothing to do with it. Didn't know the people involved. That wasn't true. I was there, and my co-defendant shot the man on the way out the door. And when that
Was it a
happened,
robbery or something?
huh?
Was it a robbery? What happened?
Yeah, it was a home invasion.
Oh, okay.
They didn't call it that back then.
Yeah.
It was in '81. And when it happened, I ran, got in the car, and got away from him. And later on, he got locked up, and he put me in it.
Yeah.
And when he did, I told everybody I wasn't there, don't know him. And that was the disease of addiction, just lying.
Lying. Yeah.
Because that's part of the disease. Lying. That's why now I tell the truth on everything, regardless how bad it is. I just tell you the truth. And like it or not, it's the truth.
Right.
That's how I deal with everything.
Right.
You can't get through this program without being honest.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the things, you have to be honest with yourself and others. You have to look at all the dark stuff you've done and be honest about it. And then tell yourself, do you want to keep doing this or you don't? And I don't. I want to be a good person. I want to be the person God wants me to be, and that's what I'm striving to be. And I've lived through a lot, and like I said before, I was never supposed to get out of prison. My release date is December 31st, 2000. I got the paperwork on that, and when you look at that, you think, wow, that's 2,981 years. They definitely never wanted me out. But God saw different, and Marilyn Mosby set up the Sentencing Review Unit to look at people's sentences, and the Juvenile Restoration Act. That all came into play with me because I was 18 when I got locked up. I didn't know how to read, write, and spell my name correctly.
Wow.
I taught myself how to read and write in the South Wing in the penitentiary on segregation in a single cell. But I was getting high every day. I went to court high. You know, I was in city jail probably 30 minutes before a friend of mine came and gave me a bag of dope and a syringe. And, you know, I'd stayed high, and that's not the way to live. But I thought it was cool because I was escaping all the real misery that I was experiencing. You know, loss of family members, being locked up, you know, being denied the right to go do things. And that was all because of stupid decisions I made. Nobody's ever victimized me worse than myself. And when I victimized myself, I got what I deserved. I deserved to go to prison. Even though I didn't kill the man, I deserved to do some time. Not that much. That's a lot, but it taught me a lot. I learned. And I know what I'm not going to do. I'm never going back there. And I'm not using drugs. Today and tomorrow I'm not going to use them either, but tomorrow's not here yet. But my life is going to be on the straight and narrow. I have a good job, and I would like to get back in the dog training field, and that's what I would really like to do.
Yeah, I hope it works out for you. Is there anything you wanted to ask, Mac?
Joe, I'm looking at the traditions right now, and I'm looking at number 11. Talk to Mindy, if you would,
Yeah.
briefly about the power of attraction rather than promotion. You talked about living your life and being an example. That's what that is speaking to.
Right.
So right to Mindy.
Okay.
Well, being an example in the attraction actually started with me in prison. I was clean for a while. I got off heroin in 2008. And 2017, I relapsed, but I was smoking a drug called Squares. It's where they take cardstock paper and they spray powder K2, they liquefy it, spray it on there, along with ketamine and other things. And then you get a little square about that big, and you break it in little tiny pieces, roll it up and smoke it. And it puts you in, they call it episodes, but just, it makes you like this.
Oh.
And you don't even know what's going on. You just zone out. And it's highly addictive. Very bad. Most of the prison system's strung out on it. A lot. And I was strung out on this stuff. I was having a really bad way to go. And I signed up for this group called Purpose Driven Life. There's a book by Rick Warner called Purpose Driven Life. And you're supposed to read one chapter a day for 40 days. And there they created a class where you go and sit there and you read the chapter and you talk about it and discuss it and things. Well, my first day in there, when we all started, I was high on Squares. And one of the church members, Elder Ron Lee, came to give me the book. He goes, "Here, brother, take the book." I'm like, "I got that book back in my cell. I don't want it. I got one." He's like, "No, you need it. Take this one." I cussed him out. I cussed him out bad because I was high. And when I said, "You know what? Forget this. I'm leaving." And I went to leave, and all my friends grabbed me up and said, "Joe, come in here. Talk to us. What's going on?" And I told them, you know, I'm strung out on this stuff, and I just don't know how to act sometimes. And he said, "Look, go back to the class, get the book, sit down and relax." So when I walked out, I went to Ron Lee and I said, "Look, man, I'm sorry." He said, "I already forgave you. You're good. This class is meant for you." I didn't understand it. And I know this is going to sound crazy, but it actually truly happened. I'm in the class, and a few days go by, well, a couple weeks went by because they string it out. And I was having, I was still carrying on acting like a fool because I was getting high. And on Monday morning, November 26th, around 7:15 a.m. In 2017, I'm in my cell by myself, and I hear a voice that says, "You get high no more." My cell buddy was at work, so I look around, there's nobody on the tier, and I had money ready to get some Squares, so I start my day off. And I said, "What? You get high no more." I sat down in my chair in front of the TV and watched it, door open and shut. I never touched a Square since. And even after that, they put somebody in my cell that smoked them, and I never had a desire to touch them. And I was clean all the way until I came home.
Wow.
But the thing is this, the attraction part started here. When I did that, all the other people who were addicted to Squares came to me and asked me to get them into class. And I got them in. And when they got in there, they also joined other groups like AA and NA. And they wanted, you know, to get their lives together. And not just that, but Purpose Driven Life went from 1 class a day to 2 classes a day because of the accomplishments I made. And I was also asked to come back and speak to the graduating class in the next session. And everything changed. That was part of the attraction.
Yeah.
And that's what this does. And I've had people come to me, like when I just graduated at Humble Beginnings on Monday, I had people come to me and said, "You're a good example." And, you know, so that's part of the attraction. And I also have people I look up to that have done this. and they're doing it like Bruce.
Mm-hmm. Like
Bruce White's been through it,
this, yeah.
and other people in here. Mike's been through it. Mark's been through it. Preston's been through it, and they are leading examples of how you can turn your life around. One of the things they say in NA is don't stop 5 minutes before the miracle happens. Because there is a miracle, and it happens. Your life changes without your permission. My life has changed. I'm sitting here talking to you. That's tremendous. And everything that's going on in my life is all positive. My family's starting to respect me a little more. I have cousins that went above and beyond to help get me out and keep me right. And they're starting to like me and respect me now. They came down from Pennsylvania for my 1-year celebration at NA. And, you know, so they're starting to love me and respect me again and see me for the person I was meant to be.
Yeah.
That's part of the attraction. And, you know, there is no promotion of NA or anything, but you have to be an example.
Right.
And when you're an example, people are like, he can do it, I can do
Right.
it. If she can do it, I can do it. And that's how this works. I've seen so many people in these rooms, they come in for a couple weeks, I'm good, and the next thing you know, they're back out putting a needle in their arm. They're back out smoking crack. They're just, and then they die. Like I said, 11 people died since I've been here. Yeah, and it was kind of hard. I mean, but it was an eye opener. You know, that could have been me. And what example do you lead then? You don't lead an example. You're the negative to everything that this
Yeah.
this process has.
Mm-hmm.
This is a positive process. And as long as you apply it and do the things you're supposed to do, they actually work. The 12 traditions and the 12 steps are very important. And they go hand in hand with your recovery. And that's how you gotta do it. The 12 steps is, you have to sit down and get real with yourself and write it all out, how you did this or how you're doing it, and, you know, different things. And some of it's painful, because you have to reflect on the things you've done and what you did to other people. It's you know, you've caused a lot of wreckage in people's lives. I have.
And then you make amends, right?
Yeah. And some people I can't make amends to.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I can't make amends to my mother and father. I could have tried to make amends to my father when he was in the nursing home, but he had dementia and Alzheimer's,
Oh.
and it wouldn't have worked.
Wouldn't. No.
He would know me for 5 minutes, 10 minutes later, he forgot who I was.
Right.
So that, and I wanted to, but it wouldn't have worked. And it's,
Joe, don't you think you have to want it bad enough? Don't you think the difference between you sitting here talking to us versus sitting over there in one of the chairs, you wanted it more than some others?
yeah, I wanted it because on November 26, 2018, when I heard that voice, You Get High No More, I saw how my life changed. Everything I sold for them drugs came back 10 times. I sent money home to my cousin from prison to hold for me when I got out. I had a nice chunk of change saved up. And I went from having nothing to having all that. And when I got out, I started screwing up. I thought I was doing good, but I really wasn't, and I lost everything.
Well, it's a hard transition.
Right,
There's not a lot of help for that.
Right, so when this happened, I realized I deviated from what God told me. I believe that was God's voice. I mean, people might think I'm crazy, but that's what I honestly believe. Because there was no one there. And I don't hallucinate. And I heard that, and everything changed because I did stop. I had no desire to do it. I have no desire now to do anything. And I believe I'm on the right path. I just deviated, so I saw how things could be devastating again.
Mm-hmm.
I think God opened my eyes again and said, look, this ain't the path you're supposed to be on. You just stop, keep stopping. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm doing.